There is a teaching so seductive and so widespread that it has quietly become one of the cruelest ideas in modern spirituality. And it sounds like empowerment. Quote unquote, you create your own reality. I promise you this, by the end of our time together, you will be able to tell the difference between the version of this teaching that frees you and the version that is slowly destroying you. And you will know the single question that separates the two. We will not reveal that question yet. We will trace the whole shape of the wound first, because only then will the question make sense. This is for those of us who got sick or got poor or got hurt and were then told, sometimes by people who loved us, that we must have manifested it. This is for the ones who lie awake, interrogating their own thoughts, certain that some hidden negativity inside them caused their suffering. This is for the people who took a teaching meant to give them power and turned it into a whip. If you have ever blamed yourself for a hardship that was never yours to control, then stay with me. This was made for you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe on my channel, please. Thank you. There is a real truth in the idea that we shape our reality. Our perceptions, our choices, the meaning we make, the energy we carry into a room. These genuinely change the texture of our lives. This is ancient wisdom and it is worth keeping. But watch what happens when a partial truth is stretched into a total law. You influence your reality becomes you create all of your reality completely alone. And the moment it becomes total, it inverts. It stops being empowerment and becomes the most refined form of self-blame ever devised. Because if you create everything, then you created the illness, you created the loss, you created the abuse, the systematic forces, the accidents of birth, the cruelty of others, the sheer randomness of a vast universe. All of it collapses into a single verdict. Your fault. This is spiritual self-flagellation dressed as sovereignty. It takes the human being already suffering and adds the crushing second wound of believing the suffering is a measure of their own spiritual inadequacy. So, why does this teaching take such deep root in us, even when it hurts? Notice as we ask this the hands. If they are curled tight, let them soften up in your lap. Palms loosening, because this is a question to hold gently and not to grip. Here is the uncomfortable tenderness of it. For many of us, especially those who grew up in chaos in homes where we could not predict or control what happens, the belief that because everything is secretly comforting. If I caused it, then I can control it, I can change it. Self-blame can feel safer than helplessness. A child who decides this is my fault is a child desperately trying to find a lever of control in a world that offered none. That same survival logic, grown up and spiritualized, becomes I manifested this because total responsibility feels less terrifying than total powerlessness. But control bought with self-blame is not real control. It is an illusion that costs us our self-compassion. And it conveniently erases something important, the material and systematic realities that actually shape our human lives. Poverty, it is a vibration, yes, it is a mindset, yes, but it isn't always that easy. It also has to do with the chances someone was given, whether they could work their way up, whether the circumstances were right or not. Illness is not a punishment for insufficient positivity. Injustice is not a manifestation of the victim's hidden negativity. To pretend otherwise is not spirituality. It is a way of looking away from how the world actually works and leaving the suffering alone with the bill. That small inward clench when something goes wrong and your first instinct is, what did I do to attract this? Feel how immediate it is, how trained. Now widen the lens all the way out. A culture that teaches everyone they create their own reality is, whether it means to or not, building the perfect engine for absolving systems of any responsibility. If the poor manifested their poverty and the sick manifested their illness, then no unjust structure ever needs to change. Let me say that again. If the poor manifested their poverty and the sick manifested their illness, then no unjust structure ever needs to change. The blame has been privatized, handed entirely to the individual. And yet, look at the actual cosmos. We are small creatures on a spinning world inside an unimaginably vast universe, governed by forces far larger than our intentions. The same humility that lets us marvel at the stars should free us from the grandiose and crushing belief that our every thought authorized our every wound. Your private self-blame is one small note in a vast machinery of looking away. To set it down is to refuse that machinery. So let us reclaim a humane version of our power. We are not the sole authors of reality, and thank the heavens for that. What an unbearable loneliness that would be. We are co-creators. We work with what we are given. We do not control the weather. At least we not. But we learn to sail. We do not choose every circumstance, but we choose again and again the meaning we make and the next true step we take. That is a power worth keeping because it is real and because it does not require us to lie about how the world actually works. And then now, the turning of the wound, the sensitivity that made us absorb the blame, that deep capacity for responsibility, that refusal to be a passive victim, it's genuinely beautiful. We do not throw it away, we aim it correctly like Care Bears. We take responsibility for what is ours, our healing, our choices, our response. And we lovingly hand back what was never ours. The illness, the cruelty of others, the systematic weight, the randomness of a vast world. Baby, that's not weakness. That is the maturity of a soul that knows the difference between power and omnipotence. Now, let the body receive what the mind has just understood. Because self-blame lives there as a specific posture, a collapsing inward, a turning of force against the self. Sit up just a little. Feel the back of your body, the part that you cannot see, the spine, the shoulder blades, the strength along the back. There is support there. Now place a hand gently on the side of your own face, the way you might touch someone you were comforting, and let your head rest the smallest bit into your own palm. Breathe, and let one sentence move through you slowly. Not everything that happened to me was caused by me. Feel where in the body that lands. Notice if the chest, which may have been bracing under the weight of self-blame, can release even slightly. You are allowed to set down a burden that was never yours to carry. So, the single question that separates the version of this teaching that frees us from the version that destroys us. As promised, here it is. The question is not, did I create this? The question is, does this belief expand my compassion or does it shrink it? The freeing version of co-creation always enlarges your kindness toward yourself and others. It opens the heart. The destructive version always contracts into blame, shame, and self-attack. When a spiritual idea makes you crueler to yourself, it has stopped being wisdom, no matter how enlightened it sounds. Power that cost you your self-compassion was never real power at all. And the moment we can ask and sit with that one question, we hold the key to keeping the medicine of this teaching while finally setting down its poison. You deserve that. Thank you so very much for listening. As always, please like and subscribe if you support my content. It really helps me out with the algorithm. I love you all so very much. Stay safe, stay unharmed, and remember, frequency is power. Bye!